This is Dr. Angelika Christie's show for women who want to be magnetic, sexy, healthy, and abundant. Angelika is an international speaker and trendsetter for women's wellness and leadership. And you are listening to the SOB Radio Network. Hello again, my friends, and welcome to the next episode of the series of Empower Yourself Spiritually. This is part 4. So in the last part, the part 3 of the Empower Yourself Spiritually series, we talked about how to amplify the voice of your true self, how to connect with the gift that you came into this lifetime with, how to step up and stand out, be confident, and know who you are. So we talked about you discovering yourself as that unlimited spiritual being that you are, manifested and embodied in this incredible body that has all of the tools, nothing that you really need to learn, all of the tools, all of the knowledge, everything to fulfill not only your purpose, but have joy with it, have fun with it, experience your life in the most incredible and beautiful way, because this is your birthright. So in today's episode, I want to invite you. I want to call you to facilitate peace. So we go a little more into our higher purpose, into what we can do to change the world. Because without a doubt, the world is changing rapidly. And the very survival of our species may be at risk if we really ignore the present signs that are so powerful, and also if we forget those of the past. Some of the signs are global warming, and we see it in the changing weather patterns. In the last decade, we saw severe droughts in California. Then we see record high temperatures and record low temperatures in certain places on Earth. There are increasing earthquakes, floods, tsunamis, and volcanoes erupting. It almost looks like the world wants to clean itself from our contaminations. So, are we the culprits? Are we contaminating our environment? I don't think we can say absolutely not to that. I think we are heavily involved in this. So I do believe that, and so may you believe it too. Because you and I, we have lived 50 or more decades. We know how the world used to be. At least I remember that in my childhood and even beyond my teenage years, the weather was rather stable. I was living in Germany up to my 30th birthday. And I remember that we had defined seasons. And they could be trusted. I mean, summer arrived when summer was supposed to arrive, and in the way it was supposed to arrive. The same with winter, fall, and spring. What do I mean is that the summer was always a real summer, and the winter had the expected temperatures and brought snow between December and February. That's what I remember. No horrific heat waves and no horrific low temperatures. Well, of course, with a few exceptions. There are always exceptions. When there was an unusually cold winter and our river would freeze over, it was an extraordinary event. And I can only remember that happening twice in my life when I was, in the 30 years or 40 years that I was experiencing that from my early childhood on. And the same with floods. I only remember it twice as well. Maybe it had to do with the increased snowfall and, of course, icy rivers that melted too quickly in spring create raving fast waters that were leaping way over the riverbeds into the nearby streets and houses. But it was a really rare event. The weather patterns today are rather unpredictable. I see it in the country I live in for over 30 years now, and it's the Bahamas. I noticed that we have less sun or sunshine, clear blue skies. We have more storms, more rain outside of the rainy season, and a totally unpredicted weather forecast. Nobody can say anymore what the weather will be like or can plan anything for sure. Well, for sure, nothing is for sure, but we had a rather predictable forecast for certain months of the year. So enough with weather-related environmental changes. I am sure that you can see and feel them too, and especially when you compare how it used to be 30 or 40 years ago. So we have to become serious about how we consume what we consume. I'm often shocked how much garbage, at least I produce in my own home, and we are only 3 people now. And I really wonder, why must everything be in such elaborate packaging? I know it's a huge industry, and it makes you buy stuff if it looks pretty. But I wish there would be less carton, plastic, and styrofoam. To bring peace to our planet, we have to become even more aware and reject what contaminates our environment. And we have to set the example in our part of the world, in the developed part of the world. And we women, 50 and over, we are the crones, the wise ones. Therefore, we have the responsibility to lead with knowledge and wisdom. And then there is an increasing escalation of violence and fear, economical hardship, unstable and corrupt financial systems, rapid depletion of our natural food and energy resources. And you know that the list goes on, and it's quite depressing. It's actually enough to create anxiety and fear. But we have to be aware that as soon as we accept that status quo, we become powerless and nothing will change. We are not too old to become active facilitators of change, of peace. And we are needed to lead the younger generation. Or if we do not want to lead, follow those who do, no matter what age they are. I have noticed that part of our younger generation displays tremendous caring and even wisdom concerning viable ecologic and economic systems. And I want to invite you to become more aware of what's happening in the world and how you can step forward, take a stand, and be the change that we need to manifest a better world so desperately. Some of you may think that it will not affect you very much anymore due to your age. Let me tell you, I am turning 70 this month, and I want to experience a better world in my last few decades. I hope I still have at least 2. But even more urgently, we really need to take a stand for our children and grandchildren and the generations that will follow. We are still the ones who hold tremendous power. If we choose to remember who we are and apply our wisdom and our love with purpose and focused intent. Therefore, I believe that we also live in the most exciting time of our lives. We are actually witnessing the ending of a male-oriented world. Even though it does not very much look like it at the moment, yet the old greed and inequality-driven world and the whole society around that is crumbling. Why? It needs to make room for a new awakening into a more gentle, collaborative, inclusive, and fair world. And I know that women are the pillars of a new consciousness. That's why we need to step up, step forward in our brilliance, live our highest potential so that we can change the world and become agents of peace. And since we have grown together, we are more and more affected by everything that happens anywhere in the world. Just see what's happening in political and religious conflicts. There are wars all over our planet. This could disturb you so much that you feel that you cannot do anything about it. But everything on Earth, as well as in space, happens in cycles, larger and smaller ones. Cycle of day and night, the cycle of the moon, of a woman's monthly cycles, the seasons, and so also cycles in history. And we do not have the time here to discuss all of the cycles, although they are fascinating. So do a bit of your own study, and you will see how amazing it is. Sometimes we may wish we could get back to what we see as normal. But there is a new normal now that is rapidly changing as well. Science, belief systems, and spirituality are coming together and supporting what many of us had already felt to be true, namely the oneness of all that is. And in the last 2,000 years, religion and politics have told us about separation, polarities, the good ones and the bad ones, and about darkness and light. We were told that we have to fight the darkness because it is dangerous, and look only for the light because it is good. It has not worked very well. Why? Because separation and conflict among people and nations have been escalating to a degree that our very survival is at risk. So it is clear that we need to come together rather than separate. We are called, yes, you and I have been called, and now have the opportunity to take the lead and show that there is a better choice. We have a window of opportunity to create a better world. And it may only be a few years or decades. The earth is changing. If we do not change, we may vanish. Here is what Albert Einstein said many, many decades ago, during his lifetime, of course. We, which he meant humanity, shall require a substantially new manner of thinking if mankind is to survive. He said that at his time, more than 130 years ago. We have to look what lessons we can learn from the last 5,000 years. We are at the beginning of a new world age. It's a new cycle. Actually, the exact years of one of the biggest cycles is 5,125 years, and it is what we call, or what is called, a cycle of a new world age. So bring out your history books, and you will find amazing risings and destructions of civilizations, global warming, even back then, not stimulated by humans, but by other things. Floods, many cataclysmic events. And they come at predictable intervals in time and space. I believe that whatever is not sustainable, which is basically fear, injustices, greed, and wars, will not be part of a new world. Well, if we choose to wake up and heed the warning signs, so we have a new chance to make a better choice. In 1944, it was Professor Dr. Max Planck in Germany who discovered that everything has an energy field. He called it this shared field of energy. Today we call it many different names, the quantum field, many, many different names. Today we know scientifically, without a doubt, that our body's energy field is connected to every cell in our body, as well as to everything outside of our body. Yes, it is even connected to our planet's magnetic energy field. Let me share something with you that I found extremely interesting, because it kind of is a proof. So the proof and the start of physics and metaphysics really coming together, for me at least, how I could understand it, was triggered by an observation at NASA when they found in September of 2001 that there was a major glitch in the Earth's magnetic energy field, which is monitored by two satellites, which of course cruise about 20,000 miles up in space looking down on our planet. These satellites send data back to the Earth every 30 minutes to give NASA a graphic design of the magnetic energy field that we have around our planet, around the Earth. Why? Because our magnetic field is also the shield that protects us from all kinds of things that meteorites, but also from the constantly threatening sun flares or plasma storms traveling through space toward us. So at NASA, when they overlapped the unusual spikes in the Earth's energy field with the date and the timeline of September 9th, 2011, it showed that this event you know what event that was, right? The attack of the Twin Towers in New York. That this event coincided exactly when the spike was visible on their graph with the hit of the first plane into the World Trade Center in New York City. Actually, the glitch in the energy field around the Earth, the glitch happened 15 minutes after the event, after the first plane crashed into one of the towers. So what does this tell you? Later on, it was decided or found that the outburst of emotions from the millions of human hearts actually became visible in Earth's electromagnetic field. And this is a proof, remember, that we are connected through the electromagnetic fields to each other on Earth and also above the Earth into space. So here is why this happened. Through the media and the internet, the world has become one large family. News travel at the speed of light, and they affect us all. We always thought that our brain sends out these large electrically charged waves. Boy, were we wrong. It is proven that it is our heart's signal that pulsates about 5,000 times stronger than our brain. Although in constant communication, the heart brings the seed, is really the seed of our emotions, and it signals the brain. So it starts in our heart. We, yes, you and I, have a measurable influence on everything, from climate change to how we create peace and a sustainable society that works together rather than hates and separates, and everything else. Human emotions have the ability to communicate with the energy field of the Earth. And this is no science fiction, but peer-reviewed and confirmed science from the greatest minds of our time, and visibly confirmed at NASA. So by having a different feeling in our heart, if you have whatever feeling you actually have in your heart, you set into motion the electric impulses, the non-verbal communication that connects you to everything else. It is the very language of creation and manifestation. And this gives me goosebumps. So here is what I want to add to this. We are coming close to the end of this session. As we grow in age, we also grow our chance to develop age-related diseases. Therefore, it is so important that you know how to communicate with your body. Keep your body disease-free, and if necessary, also know how to heal yourself. And I hope this makes more sense now, since I talked about the connection of the electromagnetic fields from your heart to your brain to everything around you. So what you feel, that's what you think and feel in your heart is what your body experiences. So we constantly speak a non-verbal language. Our cells hear it and create the appropriate chemistry to either affirm life or shorten it, which means to affirm death. The body's response to strong belief and feelings is immediate. And this is how spontaneous healing can happen, as well as the placebo effect that we all know about. So your belief system and the strong emotion that support it are a tremendously creative force. And we use it all the time, mostly unconsciously though. And that's when we are surprised at what happened to us, and that's not what we wanted. But we were unaware of what we were communicating. Because we are not passive observers of what may happen, but we can actively participate and create the change in ourselves first that we want to see in the world. So ask yourself this question: what if I can help myself and others by focusing on the language of my heart to see and feel oneness instead of separation? Freedom does not come from trying to escape, but from arriving consciously and applying the unspoken language of your heart. Expect miracles when you start to practice bringing coherence and harmony from your heart to your brain. Make a conscious choice for peace. We are needed desperately. You are needed desperately to participate, to become the facilitator for peace in your body, in your family, in your community, and in the world. And the love from your heart, from your human heart, is what empowers you. The love from your invisible heart, the feeling heart, is what empowers you. And that same love from your heart is what will bring peace into the world and ultimately save our world. Maybe you want to listen to this episode again and maybe pause it a few times and take it into your heart and journal. What is your part in this? What can you change in your life? What is it that you can contribute to world peace? This is it for today, and we connect again next week. All my love to you.